Hey everyone, this is Brian Trautschold, co-founder of Ambition, and we are back. I am joined today, thankfully, by Bryan Tucker, head of mid-market sales at Gong. Gong's an incredible company, which we are proud to work with quite a bit. Brian, how are you doing, man?
Doing all right, Brian. Pleasure to talk to you this Monday morning.
Yeah, you too. Things are certainly crazy, and we're, I think both of our companies are right in the middle of it as sales organizations adjust and adapt, try to figure out how they're going to move forward. But I want to kick the main question of these videos right to you. What are you doing these days to coach, manage your team over the past couple of weeks of this pandemic and kind of global crisis?
Yeah, it's certainly an interesting time for anyone in sales. Luckily here at Gong, I'm thankful every day, given really the nature of what we sell and its applicability to helping teams in a remote workplace has certainly enabled me to keep on keeping on with the team. But I think as I take a step back and I think about all the different things that, we're doing internally or I'm doing to coach the team, first and foremost, I'm trying to stay really close to my people. Secondly, we're trying to have really realistic and thoughtful goals and targets given this time of uncertainty. And last but not least, I'm trying to keep engagement high. We, despite the nature of our product, we've never operated in an environment that everyone has been remote. So obviously, like every other sales organization, there was a lot of a fear and uncertainty heading into a remote kind of work team right now.
Sure. And you are based on the West Coast. Is all of your team also in the Bay Area?
Yeah, so we're spread out across the Bay Area and Southern California. Some people have abandoned their homestead in the Bay Area and escaped to like Arizona and Tahoe before the shelter-in-place orders hit. But yeah, for the most part, we're all right around the Bay Area.
Tell me about these, the adjustment to goals and targets and trying to be, realistic. I'm sure you put a ton of thought into that, probably you and the rest of the leadership team. What did that look like, and how did the team respond to that, so to speak?
Yeah, it's a good question. So at Gong, and this is coming from Ryan Longfield, our CRO, as we kind of get into that goal setting and quota setting process each year. But we really pride ourselves on having that kind of winning locker room feel, where it's really important to us that 75% of our reps are hitting their numbers or attaining. I've been in some sales organizations where it feels like, half the organization is not set up to succeed. Right. So that's absolutely not the place that how we think about things. So with that mindset, obviously there's a lot of uncertainty out there in the marketplace. And when we thought about the different things that we could do in terms of making adjustments to the targets and making sure that the team was cared for, we kind of isolated on three things. First and foremost, we could do nothing. We could say that we've got a product that we're still selling. We finished our last quarter on a pretty high note despite the headwinds. And you know what, team? There were a bunch of good years. Now, this is going to be a little bit tougher, but we're just going to keep on doing what we've been doing. So that's one option. The second option was to kind of look forward these next 3 months and make a decision around what we think is going to happen with all the uncertainty in the marketplace. And then number three was to kind of take a wait and see approach, given that we still don't really know what the entire impact of COVID is going to be. So where the executive team landed was on that third bucket, to take that wait and see approach and make zero adjustments to our goals on the front end of the quarter. Obviously, our reps had some opinions about that.
A little heartburn.
a little bit of heartburn. You know, it takes a lot of trust in your sales leadership team to say, don't worry, guys, we're going to take care of you. But for now, your goals are your goals. Let's keep on doing what we've been doing. But that's something we've been managing through, and it's our CRO actually joined each and every one of our team meetings to kind of talk through the logic of where things stand today, why we made this decision, and what it's going to look like moving forward. And then what we're doing is we're closely monitoring like 7 different business KPIs month over month to ensure that if and when there is an impact that we begin to see in these different parts of the business, that we then make the necessary adjustments so that we're taking care of our team.
Yeah, I think that makes a ton of sense. And I do think that every company, and, you know, we, Gong and Ambition specifically, are going to be impacted in certain ways. I think our customers, we're definitely seeing, are impacted in a variety of ways. And there's no one size fits all approach here, but definitely makes sense with, I think, the way that your product can impact folks. And I would assume that, you know, even if there is issues for SaaS providers like us, I think that we actually are beneficial, and we'll see some of, you know, we already are seeing some increased demand on some of the things we do. So it's going to be to each their own situation. Digging in on your other kind of focus, you know, engaging your team. I love that what you said about building your trust. Like, how are you doing that, and how are you kind of, you know, re-engaging in a remote setting right now to not only keep people plugged in, but also to, I'm sure you're trying to expand that trust right now.
Yeah. You know, it's interesting. In some ways, the distance forces you to be a little more deliberate about engagement, getting to, you know, understand one's goals, and I don't know, just staying connected. I find myself when I'm at the office, I'm like running around from meeting to meeting all day long. I like get so behind on all of my Slack messages. You know, I don't quite have that problem now, since I'm mostly just sitting in my wine and Peloton Palace here.
You got a very nice, very classy setup behind you. I did want to comment on that. Looks good.
I appreciate it. We just restocked the wine rack there. It was getting a little low, so hopefully you've seen an improvement since our last meeting. But one of the things, so in the midst of all this, my team actually grew from 6 to 11 members. So it's been wildly important for me to understand where I can improve as a manager. So one of the things that I did actually just this last week is I started soliciting feedback from my team in kind of a more formal manner by sending out a 360-degree feedback survey. So that's kind of foundational for me as I'm working with this expanded team in this remote environment, just to ensure that the blind spots that I know exist in terms of like my management style or what I'm bringing to my team are exposed to me, so I can work on them. That's kind of one thing. The second thing is focused. Is focused as a business as we are about pivoting, given, you know, the COVID crisis, ensuring that like new messaging, new training, any help anyone needs, just all of the like ongoing training and sessions we have around that. I think it's really important that you don't lose touch of kind of the human stuff, and that you spend time with your team and with individuals in a one-to-one setting on just like what's going on in their life outside of work. How's the family? How's the relationship? How are you spending your weekends? And one of the, I think, things that I'm doing is just trying to be really diligent about those conversations as well.
That's great. I think that everyone in a leadership and management position, not that they probably wouldn't get to that, but I think it matters so much right now because, you know, even as you and I were talking when we started the call, everyone's dealing with the same macro situation, but you know, the micro situation at your place is a lot different than at my place. And like, you know, I've got 2 young kids. You're not in that situation, and so all of these people's, you know, we're seeing it in Ambition where their day to day because schools are closed, daycare's closed, maybe you can't see grandparents or extended family, all these things that are having, significant amount of impact on folks' personal lives, in addition to this whole health thing, is a lot. And I think that's really smart of you to buy into that and to try to invest in the people and give them time and split away the coaching of, let me talk about your pipeline or your metrics and let me talk about you, the person. So I think it's incredibly applicable to anyone. They can take that away from this right away. Anything else that you want to share that you think sales managers should be doing right now or in the next few weeks and months?
Yeah. I think just kind of echoing this topic, it's just ensuring that you're empathetic with your messaging and everything that you're doing with your team. I know when I look at the performance of my team, there's people that are heading into this quarter thinking like, man, this was going to be the quarter that I was going to make up for last quarter, or I had everything lined up. It's kind of rough last quarter, but I busted my ass for the last 3 months to put myself in this position. And now, I can only imagine, and I do know that some of them feel like they kind of got the rug pulled out from under them with everything that's happening. So I think just in general, we've all got high expectations. We've all got a lot of stress with everything that's happening, but trying to see the world through other people's eyes and ensuring that even if you're feeling stressed out, you're not treating everyone like a number. You're thinking about their individual situations when it comes to communicating with them. Because as we alluded to, it's going to be tougher for some other folks than others.
Yeah, absolutely. We can't all escape to Tahoe before the shelter-in-place order goes out.
Exactly.
Well, Brian, it's great to talk to you. I think this is super useful. It's good to hear what you guys are doing, and I think every sales manager sales leader has the same type of challenge right now, which is situations are different, the expectations are in flux, the buying cycle is changing, and so I appreciate you lending us some of your experience and the strategies that you're using. And we'll talk to you again soon, man.
Of course, Brian. Pleasure to meet you.